I'm starting to get very interesting tan lines. My entire face is a lot more tan than my sunglasses up because I wear a wide brim hat. Okay, so this morning I thought there was going to be rain yet again, and didn't even sprinkle. So I drove in early, got there just after 7:30. There was Mark was back. He had been testing all week with students. Came to find out that of the 9 students that tested this week, 2 on Monday. No, I'm sorry, 2 on Tuesday passed, and one of the people timed out. She retested later and failed. Apparently, she was doing her road test. She didn't do so well, accidentally cut off a car, quickly corrected, hit a curb. That's it. Everyone else failed. 7 fails this week. Now, if I were to guess, and I don't honestly know as to why, it would probably be, a combination of things, maybe not getting the pre-trip right, which is one of those things where it's a script. They basically have it scripted out for you and you follow it and you just remember the script. Well, I'm pretty good at remembering scripts. I can recall movies that I watched as a kid word for word right now. And so anyway, I saw Mark again this morning and I greeted him and because he's funny guy. I like him a lot. And there was Ruben. And so I basically greeted them both and said, are you, I said, so you're back. Are you going to be evaluating people today? And he was just kind of like, maybe, we'll see what happens. And I'm like, because if so, I'd like you to do, I've already passed and gotten 100s on everything, on section A, section B, section C, coupling and in-cab. So I'm good on pre-trip, but I said, are you going to check our in-cab and coupling and stuff like that? And when I said that, because I said, I'd like you to check it. And Ruben snapped his head over there. I didn't notice this. Mark later told me, he said that Ruben snapped his head over there because people are usually pretty intimidated by Mark because he's a stickler for the details. He was basically, as a teenager, as a young kid, he basically was born in trucks and was replacing parts on them and stuff like that. And he was the kind of person that would get down underneath the truck and look at things and check it out and do all kinds of things while they were offloading, one of his trailers. And if there was something that started to seep or leak or something like that, he would instantly jump up and fix it. And so as people were loading and unloading, he'd get underneath there and he'd fix it. No cares. So he had very few breakdowns because he was constantly doing maintenance on his truck. Smart guy. So, but a lot of people are intimidated by that. Me, I am not. To me, he is the person that's going to prepare you the best. Someone that's going to be a stickler for the details, that makes sure that you, if there is an I to be dotted, he is going to make sure it's dotted. He is going to tell you what you need to do. And he's always got a tweak for you, which I really like. And I'm not afraid. I've said many times before, I'm not afraid to fail. I'm not afraid to get something wrong. And technically, I know this is a course that you should pass and get good grades on. But at the same time, I know that if you don't practice this stuff, by the time you get to the test, it's not. I can't go to the Department of Driver Services, DDS, and tell them, but I did fine in the class. He's not going to care. I got to do the pre-trip. I got to perform it correctly. I got to do my maneuvers correctly. I can't just say, but I can do it there at the school. They're going to shake their heads and say, I don't care. You need to do it here. You need to show an instructor. So, I don't mind him being a stickler. And so he kind of gave me a little smile and he said, let the beatings begin. And he got us up into took me up into the cab and I went through pre-cab, in-cab pre-trip. And, there was, I'm trying to remember. And I said everything. There was one thing he tweaked the wording of, just because he said, what was it? It was he said, you didn't say this. And it was when I did the service brake test, what you do is you go forward, and then right before you put on the brakes, you take your hands off the wheel and you say, the wheel did not pull left and right, which means that it's that they're properly, aligned. Well, I said, or you say they're, which shows that they're both working correctly. Or it shows that they're working correctly. And instead of that, I think I said, I think I said, and the wheel did not pull left or right, which shows that it's working correctly, or something like that. I forgot the wording I did at the time, but I said the same thing, but using different words. So he said, well, you didn't say this. I said, I did. I said, it functioned correctly, or whatever I said. And he said, you need to use the words, it is working correctly, or say he basically told me the wording. And I said, okay. I said, good to know. And he says, aside from that, you nailed it. I'm like, all right, good. And I did do everything, so I did get 100 on it. Then later today, earlier today, I wanted him to do my coupling, which he was like, yeah, I don't know, it's nothing to grade. And so when we were doing maneuvers, the next thing he did is he put us through our paces. And normally, like at the DDS, they're going to start you with a straight back. Make sure you could do that. Then they're going to have you do offset left or right. And then it's either whatever the computer chooses. Either you're going to get parallel parking or you're going to get alley dock. And parallel parking will be either left or right, just like offset. Well, today, after our pre-chup, we went straight into alley docking. And he said, well, hop on in, Alan, and you do it. And I'm like, okay. Well, I screwed the pooch on this one. I was all over the place. I hit a cone. He just kind of, he was like, hey, pull forward. And so I pulled forward. Then I tried to get the thing, and I went in at the wrong angle, and I tried pulling up, and then I tried coming in again, and somehow, and I still don't even know how I did this, I got myself in a straight line where I was off. I mean, like, cone was here, cone was behind me, and I was somehow square down the middle of this thing, unable to turn left or right, and had very little movement. So I was like, I got to pull forward, but the way I pull forward is going to have to be, just starting over again. And somehow I ended up, angling the wrong direction, angling from the blind side. And I was just like, how in the world did this happen? This was garbage. This was horrible. So I at this point, I was kind of laughing and shaking my head. I straightened back up over there, finally got in the box, and I took off my hat and I walked around. And I said, I'm going to be taking a collection for any points that people aren't using. Because I know I went through all 12 of mine on this and then some. And he just said, yeah, that was ugly. So I was like, I need to get better on it. And I cannot make an excuse and say, oh, well, I wasn't warmed up. Because you start off your day, you suddenly need to do an alley dock, or you start off and let's say you're sleeping and then you head back straight up and they say, well, you're not actually in this. You're going to have to go pull over there. Well, you got to do it. I mean, you can't just say I'm tired. I can't do it. It's not like, you stand up and they say, all right, well, walk outside and you're barefoot and stepping really weird on shells on the ground or something like that. It's not nothing like that. It's a technique. You got to have it down. I don't have it down. Next thing we did was parallel parking. And I did that just fine, except both times on the left and the right side as I was backing up, I said to myself, if I just push back a little bit more, I'll be able to, straighten up and be perfectly in the center of the line. And so twice I hit the back center cone. But, either parallel parking or alley docking, you get one of the two. And so it would be 2 points. No biggie. So as soon as that happened, I hit a cone, and then it's a forced pull forward. So it's 2 points for hitting a cone, 1 point on a forced pull forward. So I would have passed with 9. With 9. But let the truth be known, I didn't have to do either one of those. I just said I wanted to try to straighten up. As soon as I hit the cone, I'm like, forget it, I'm in the box. So I pulled on forward, honked the horns, checked obviously, and I did my checks, my safety checks, and had that procedure down. There was also, left and right was the same exact way. I went back and got myself in line, and then snugged it in there and hit the back center cone on both of them. Let's see. Aside from that, when that took us to lunch, all of us doing all the pre-trip and stuff. After lunch, we changed over to the straight back and the offset. I went first, back straight up perfectly through the thing, pulled forward, went straight over into the right side offset, pulled forward, straight into the left side offset, no pull forwards, no hit cones, no nothing. It was just picture perfect. It was the way it was supposed to be. And so I was like, all right, good. I feel confident with that. That's why I can save my points for the alley dock, which on Monday, if I don't get that right, I will have Tuesday. And if I can't get it right by Tuesday, I know sure as the world I'm going to get alley docking when I get to the DDS. If I have it down and I find it fun because I can maneuver it and get right in there, guess what's going to happen? They're going to give me parallel. So that I know. If someone's going to get alley docking, it's going to be me. In-cab, feel confident with the performance of all the in-cab section A, B, C, and coupling pre-trip. Absolutely confident in that. I feel confident in all my maneuvers except alley dock. I feel like I will do well on the road because the other day, it was just yesterday, thinking about things overnight and thinking about things, I was able to get better, realizing in retrospect what I could have done better. So like from Wednesday to Thursday, I said, I'm grinding a lot of gears. Maybe if I didn't, he would say, well, shift as quick as you can, shift as quick. And me being the kind of person that's going to say, oh, okay. So I go double clutch real quick and jam and go, with the gear shift because I drive a 6-speed manual. And the thing is, there's a mistime between my hand and the double clutch. And I also am clutching by pushing all the way down as opposed to just a tap, tap, which is what you're supposed to do. And it goes much better into gear if you go tap, tap. So instead of yanking it into gear, what I did yesterday was I would go tap, tap. I would make just a tap right as I pull out of gear, tap right as it goes in gear. As I'm downshifting, I go tap to get it in the middle. I'd go gas, tap, boom. Gas, tap into the gear and into gear. And I had no issues. So I feel good with that. So as long as I can get past maneuvers, I feel good that I don't want to sound overconfident because it's sure as the world, if I get overconfident, I'm going to do something. I'm going to hit a curb. I'm going to just barely go over the edge just a little bit. And I'm going to and they're going to say, okay, let's go back. I'll be like, But no, I feel good about it. As a matter of fact, I'm feeling good about everything. It's funny because I'm one of the older people there. I think I told you that. I'm also, as far as everyone's concerned there, I'm a senior because I graduate next week. So I'm a senior. I was freshman, sophomore, whatever you want to call it, junior last week, and now I'm a senior. So 3 weeks, and you're the old people at the yard. You're the people that everyone says, "Wow, look at them and their skills." And because I was the same way last week. I was like, "Oh man, these people are going to be testing." My first week, it's like Michael and Patrick know so much, and they're just like, "Oh, you'll get it. Just keep practicing. You'll get it." I'm like, "Okay, well, guess what? They were right." So yeah, I'm feeling good. They told us today that we'll test on Wednesday. I will be there on Monday. I will be there on Tuesday. Thomas wasn't there one day, and so he has to play makeup for that day. Technically, he was only there part of another day, but I think they're gonna go ahead and allow him to go through. The main thing he needs to work on is pre-trip. Fritz, he is good. He is good. He is a very good student. He has the technique down. He's got such a great personality, and he's got his pre-trip down. He's got I will be very surprised if he does not do well. If he doesn't, it's probably because of the on the road portion. He'll probably ace the pre-trip. He'll probably ace maneuvers. And then when it comes down to getting on the road, if anything, he's gonna have a hard time, and he'll grind some gears because the shifting is the thing that gets him. And he works Sunday through Wednesday. And so if we're testing Wednesday, me and Thomas told him, you should probably try to take off Tuesday nights. That way you're well rested. And he's like, we'll see. I would do my best. I would try to see if I could shift my schedule to Thursday, so that way I would be prepared, because after all, he's been working on this really hard. He's been burning the candle at both ends, just kicking butt and taking names, doing great. And I think he deserves it. I think he deserves to have a little bit of time where he could just concentrate on getting a good night's sleep, and he'll make it up later in the week. I think he should be allowed to that, since it's an actual test. Not my responsibility. It is all on him. It's between him and his employer, but I think he deserves it. So, right. Alley docking. First time I went to do alley docking, when I wasn't being graded for it. Surprisingly, the truck went right into the slot. And I was like, that's weird. Why did that happen? And they were just like, yeah, you got this, Alan. I'm like, no, that was a fluke. That was an accident. That does not happen. That did not actually happen. That doesn't count. If I can do it even 3 times in a row, then we got something. That was an accident. It was a happy accident, but it was an accident nonetheless. Next time, did I show that was the right thing, because I was all over the place. And no, it's not one of those things where if you tell yourself you're going to fail, you're going to fail. Look, I am not of that era. I'm not of that generation. I'm of the generation that says, guess what? I'm still going to kick butt because I am me, and I'm going to do it because I'm determined, and I'm going to do this. But I can also joke. I mean, that's the reason why I was like, pass the hat. Does anybody have some points that they're not using? And, sense of humor goes a long way. And that's one of the things that is one of my best features. I mean, Lord knows, face made for radio. Ladies aren't going to like this, but hey, personality. Anyway. All right. So yeah, it was quite cool being able to practice alley docking all this afternoon. I did probably twice. I did it and slipped right in the box. Probably all but 2 times I went back and either pulled forward like 4 or 5 times and got in, or pulled forward like 3 or 4 times and hit the 1 cone. If I had alley docking, it would not be pretty. I could probably get in the box. I left at the end of the day. They told us, we were going to be testing, and I said that's cool. I went, and as I was signing out, I signed out, and Ruben looks at me and says, "How you doing?" I said, "I feel confident on everything except alley docking." He says, "Yeah, we'll work on that Monday and Tuesday," because I had tried so many techniques, as I've told you. I have tried techniques from all the instructors there except Ruben, because I have not worked with him. I tried all the different techniques that I could find online. None of those are working for me. And so Ruben, he watched my second time. My first time, it just magically went in the box. The second time, I was all over the place. And I tell you, I cuss like a sailor in that vehicle because it is not working. And I just start, cussing because I'm too tight, and then I pull forward, and then I'm on the other side of it, and I'm just like, get in the middle of, why isn't this working? And Ruben walks over, and he says, all right, pull forward, turn your wheel to the left, or turn your wheel to the right, just a little bit. All right, go back about, all right, stop, turn your wheel all the way to the left. And then he says, all right, go back in. And it just goes right in the box. And I'm like, and so he's just like, yeah, you see, you did it. I'm like, I'm your remote control. I can do it just fine when you're telling me you're not going to be on the test. It's like, When someone tells me, all I'm doing is playing little, okay, I can do this. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. So if you're telling me what to do, it's the same thing as what tech support does. Tech support says, I am the brain. I will tell you how to fix your computer. You have to do it. But the person who's actively doing it is not using their brain to actually figure out the problem. That is the help of the person that is on the other side of the phone. So basically, Ruben is my tech support, and I do what he tells me to. I'm the monkey in the middle. So as soon as I got out, I he went over and said, what happened there? I said, what happened is I screwed up again and again and again. He says, all right, tell me what you're doing. And I said, okay, because what I started to do, I tried Steve's technique. It worked fine yesterday. Today it wasn't working. So I mixed it up and I went back to Jason's technique. He was the first person that taught us alley talking. It was the same technique that somebody had said online, CDL College, I think, or somebody. And so I said, I'm going to go back to that technique, which is where you line up, you turn the wheel a little bit, like, crank it to 6 o'clock. As soon as you see your entire landing gear, just the one leg, you straighten up the wheel. And what you do is you just start going straight back. As you go straight back, you will naturally start to walk the trailer towards the box. And then you are supposed to read it from there. And then I said, and I'm trying to read it and time it so that it goes in the box. And Ruben said, yeah. He says, I've been watching. He says, you got the technique down. Your issue is the timing. He said, your technique is fine. You just need to figure out when and where to do things. I said, yes, I do. He said, okay. And he said, try this. When I walk it close, he says, try to get it, about 3 feet out from the box. As soon as my wheel, I think he's at the end of the trailer. He says, as soon as the trailer gets even, like if you drew a imaginary line, you extend the line. As soon as that wheel gets about even with the front line of the leading cone, cut your wheel all the way to the right and start to navigate around. As you start to jackknife in there, once you get about halfway through where you're wanting to be, stop, turn the wheel all the way hard the other direction, and it will chase right on in. Okay, I tried that. I'm not lining things up correctly. When I do that, I don't have the timing down in the sense that I jackknife all the way around, and then I'm like, okay, is now the point where I'm supposed to chase it? And so I turn it all the way back the other way, and I end up overshooting it. Or I end up undershooting it, and then I pull forward, and sometimes I can have to go over to the right, back to the left, serpentine style, do this number to line myself up. Then I can maybe go back sometimes. All the instructors know their stuff. They know how to teach. The problem is me. I know this. They give you all the tools you need. It's a very good school. They give you all the tools. I like all the instructors. Every one of them is an expert. Everyone knows what they're doing. Every single one of them knows what they're doing, and they can tell you what to do. You are responsible for doing it. It's kind of like what Danny said yesterday or Wednesday. He says, well, all three of you could drive a truck. Whether you choose to or not is on you. That's the truth. I can practice, I can think, I can look at the paperwork and do all that stuff over and over and over again, but there is nothing I can do for the technique. When class is over, class is over. And I told Ruben, I said, I just want to jump in the truck and sit there for 8 hours and do it over and over again until it just feels like second nature. I just want to do that. So that's obviously not going to happen. We have to take turns. But I mean, I wish I could work during lunch, because I'd say, would I be able to work during lunch? But no, you got to be supervised by an instructor, and it's not appropriate for them to have to work through the lunch because a student decides they want to work. It's not something that can happen. So I get that. I mean, I'm not even going to ask because it just doesn't seem like the appropriate thing. But I feel good about everything. But I'm going to get the alley doc. I know it. And I want to do well. I really want to do well. I want to be a one and done. Because I've worked hard for it. I've studied. I have at night. I have just racked my brain to get the pre-trip down. I've tweaked everything. I've talked to Mark and the other instructors, Danny and Orlando, and I've asked them questions, and I've asked them extra credit things too. Like, is this seal the same seal that's on the axle seal? And they'll say, oh no, the hub seal is different, and it's the same as the front tires, the steer tires. And, I'll ask a bunch of questions and kind of bring my own personality. I have a few jokes built into my pre-trip. But next Monday, next Tuesday, and then that's it. That is it. Test on Wednesday. As long as I don't flub up and forget something that I've studied to death on the pre-trip, as long as I don't screw up my maneuvers, and as long as I don't hit anything on the road, I should do it. I feel good about it. Just got to get there and work on Ali Doc. Ali Doc I need that.